Michelle Torrio, and this is the Be Mindful podcast. Hi there, and welcome back to the Be Mindful podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about raising your standards because having standards are necessary. I wanted to talk about this today because you are allowed to want more. Let me say that again. You are allowed to want more, and it is safe to want more. It is important to have standards because when you have standards, you know exactly what you want, you know how to communicate it, you know how to embody it, and you're no longer convincing yourself that what you currently have, like what you have that you actually don't want anymore, is enough. If you have ever felt guilty for wanting a specific job, a specific relationship, a specific body or environment, just because it feels good to you, this episode is for you because you don't have any reason to feel guilty for wanting more. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. We love to talk about mindset, manifestation, transformation, growth, and so much more. So if any of those topics excite you or interest you, then I suggest you subscribe and follow along for more. So today I wanted to talk about raising your standard, not because you're constantly dissatisfied with life. It's because I want you to recognize that wanting more is okay. And being grateful for right now while wanting more is okay. You can be grateful while also being ambitious. So let's talk about gratitude. I am sure you have heard so many people say, just be grateful. Be grateful for right now and be grateful for what you have, which I don't disagree with. I think you should always be grateful. However, sometimes accidentally, gratitude can turn into settling. Settling because you think that, oh, this is okay. I don't need more than what I actually want. Like, this is fine. I don't want you to fall into that trap of settling just because you're grateful for it. Wanting more doesn't mean that you don't have enough. It means that you are opening that imagination and that possibility of what can happen for you. For example, maybe you love your job, but it's also okay to want more money. And maybe you love your marriage, you love your partner, but maybe you want more romance. Maybe you want to go on more dates. Or maybe you love your body, but you want to get stronger. Or maybe you do actually love your life, but you want to expand more. All of these things are valid reasons, and it's okay to desire that. I share this with you because I was someone who started second guessing what I wanted. I started second guessing if what I wanted was okay, if it was safe, or if I was being selfish or being a brat for like wanting more things in my life. And I used to think that, dang, am I just really expensive? Like, do I just have expensive taste? And I used to think that was a bad thing. But now I've accepted, okay, it is what it is. I love luxurious things. I love designer bags. I love going on luxury trips. Like, I love that. And I want that as my lifestyle. And I shouldn't feel guilty for that. A girl can want what she wants. And if you need to hear that today, know that it's okay. It is totally okay. And if someone shuts you down, who cares? That means that they don't want that, or they're insecure and they're projecting it on you because they don't believe that they can get that. So I want you to remember that it is okay to have gratitude for everything that you have right now, as you always should, but it is also okay to be ambitious and to want more and to follow your desires. I truly believe that your desires are there for a reason, so why are we going to settle for anything less than that? When we do not have standards, we normalize things that we actually do not want in our life. So for example, if you say yes to everything because you feel bad for saying no, then you are just exhausting yourself and you are normalizing that. You are normalizing to everyone that you are always available. But what about yourself? When are you going to say no for you? Another example are relationships that you don't feel appreciated in. And this can be for friendships or romantic relationships. And I've seen it over and over again where people will complain about someone's actions, but then they don't do anything about it. They say that, oh, I've tried this and this, but like maybe the pattern just keeps continuing and their actions continue to show you that they truly don't appreciate you. And just because something is familiar doesn't mean that it is aligned with your truest desire. So if you are continuing to allow someone to not appreciate you and treat you in a way that really dims your light and hurts you, then you're allowing that. That is the problem. You are normalizing it. And sometimes we don't even realize it because we've been experiencing this for so long, and that is our normal. But I challenge you today to ask yourself, what are the things in your life that you don't want to happen anymore? And what are you going to do about it? Your standards are a self-reflection of your self-worth. So whatever you believe that you are worthy to receive, that is exactly what you will receive in your life. So if you think, oh, this is as good as it's going to get for me, or you think, oh, I have reached this age, so there's nothing else that I can do, I'm just going to tell you right now, that's bullshit. That is a bullshit lie. That is not the truth. So if you believe that this is just going to be as good as it gets, then you will continue to live this life because that is what you believe you're worthy of. But if you believe that there is so much more out there and that you are going to expand and you're going to attract all good things, then that is what's going to come into your life. You are what you attract. I say that at the end of every episode because it's very true. Because the world within you, if you don't work on what's inside of you, like how you think, what you believe about yourself, nothing's going to change. Now, sometimes the biggest barrier isn't an opportunity. It's really giving yourself permission to have what you truly want, what your heart truly desires. So what that looks like is you being completely honest with yourself. Like, what do you want? And once you have everything that you want, what else do you want? I say, what else do you want? Because it's limitless. The moment that you admit what you truly want, that's when you could start going after it. That's when you give yourself permission to take action and go for it. And without feeling guilty for it, because you shouldn't feel guilty for desiring more for yourself. Now, as a reminder, when it comes to raising your standards, I'm not telling you to ask for more from someone else. So for example, my husband, I love princess treatment and he knows that, but he's also not a mind reader, right? I have to communicate with him what I love, like what makes me feel loved. So if you want a specific relationship, maybe you want your partner to get you flowers, or you want your partner to always open the door for you. Like if that is a standard for you, communicate that with your partner. And if they're not okay with that, then maybe that's not the right partner for you, right? When you're in a relationship, a romantic relationship, you guys should be very aligned on that and very clear on communicating what you both want. So as you raise your standards, remember that you cannot just expect someone to magically meet your standard. You have to communicate it. You have to share with them why you like this, how it makes you feel. And if you communicating wasn't enough, then that means that your standards are not being met and it's time for you to go on to the next. It's just a reminder that your standards do require communication. And that ties into me reminding you that your standard requires you doing your part. Raising your standards isn't about you expecting more from your life. Raising your standards means becoming that person who can participate in the life that you want. So for example, if your standard is for someone to communicate with you, are you communicating as well? If you have a standard to be healthy, then are you taking care of your body? Like, are you providing the nutritious foods that you need? And are you working on your fitness? Like, are you physically taking care of yourself as well? And of course, are you taking care of yourself mentally? Like overall, your well-being, are you doing that? Are you showing up as that person? Now, as you are raising and setting those standards, don't apologize for it. You know what you want, and that's okay. That's good enough. So if you ever find yourself saying, oh, I don't really need that, or it's not a big deal, or I'm asking for too much, I want you to pause and challenge yourself first. You don't have to make your desire smaller just to make someone else feel comfortable. When you have your standards, remind yourself that I'm allowed to have what I want and make decisions however I want. No one's going to stop you besides yourself. So stop apologizing for wanting more and be okay with it. So every time you feel guilty for wanting more, just tell yourself like, no, it is safe to want more. And I am okay to be grateful for now and be ambitious to go for what I want. I also want this to be a great reminder to raise your standards for yourself too. So if you are constantly putting yourself down, raise the standards and tell yourself, like, I am not going to do this anymore. I am done. I am tired of putting myself down. Like, I am ready to know what I'm capable of doing, and I'm going to show up for that. This is where becoming your best self comes in, because you are putting a standard on yourself on what you will do and no longer do. Just a few days ago, I started this new habit of no longer looking at my phone right before bed and looking at my phone right when I wake up. So it has actually made such a significant difference. I have an iWatch and I also have the Aura Ring, and I was monitoring my sleep to see if there was any difference from when I wasn't doing this to me now doing this. And I not only feel better, but my REM sleep is actually like up to 2 hours, which is so great for our brain. So what I did was I set a standard for myself. I said, no, I am no longer going to go on my phone right before bed, and I am not going to pick it up the moment I wake up. This is my new standard because this is what the highest version of me would do. And that's a question I want you to ask yourself. Like, what would the highest version of me consider normal? I want you to take a moment to really imagine yourself. Imagine what it would look like if you woke up tomorrow and you were living the life of your dreams. How would you show up? What would you see? What would you hear? How would you feel? Really sit with those feelings. Envision it. Would you wake up feeling rested? Would you be someone who likes to move their body? Is your new normal someone who loves to save money and build generational wealth? Is that new normal of you someone who speaks kindly to themselves? Is this new normal someone who creates consistently? Is it someone who prays? Is this new normal of you someone who follows through with their promises? And are you living a life that you truly enjoy but are so excited to expand it even more? The goal here isn't to constantly chase a better life just because you feel like yours isn't good enough. The goal is to create a life that feels so aligned that your old patterns are no longer your normal. So here is your Raising the Standards audit. I have 5 questions that you can journal about. The first question you want to ask yourself is, what am I currently tolerating? What are the things that I just don't want anymore? Get very clear on that. So that leads me into my second question. It's, what do you actually want? We don't do realistic here, okay? We are delusional with our dreams. So dream big. Even if it sounds crazy and out of this world and impossible, write it down. It's what you want, and you're going to make it happen. Number 3 is, what are the standards that would support the life that I want? So what are your non-negotiables? Number 4 is asking yourself, what do I need to communicate? So who in your life needs to know what you want? Like, if you have a partner, I think it's important that you both talk about your desires, your dreams, and like things that you also will not put up with. I think it's very necessary that you and your partner are very aligned on what you do want, what you don't want, and what is your non-negotiables. And of course, you don't have to use this just for romantic relationships. This can also be with your friends. So if there is a friend that maybe you were hurt by, communicate it with them. Maybe what they did was unintentional, it was an accident. Like, it's important because when you are able to communicate your relationship with that person, whether a friendship or romantic, it's going to get stronger, or you're going to realize, oh, this relationship is no longer serving me. And number 5 is asking yourself, who do I need to embody? So again, being very honest with yourself, like, what do you need to start doing so that you can have the life that you want? So try out those 5 questions and let me know what comes up for you. You are allowed to have a beautiful life, whatever that may look like: financial abundance, a loving relationship, a healthy body, deep friendships, peace, adventure, whatever that looks like to you and feels aligned and excites you, you can have it all. The life that you want doesn't come to you by just wishing for it. I'm sure we all know that already. It becomes a life that you want the moment you start treating it like it's possible. You start communicating what you want. You start going after what you want by taking those aligned actions and becoming the person who lives that way. So get very clear on what you want to stop normalizing and what you want to be your new normal. And that is the end of today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was very insightful for you, especially if you were just like me and felt guilty for wanting more, because no more. We do not need to feel guilty for our desires. They're pointless. They are so pointless. I really believe that the desires we have are little gifts from God, and God being like, hey, this is what you desire. This is what's possible for you. So go for it. So if you liked the episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you didn't, like it anyways and subscribe. And I will see you in the next episode. But don't forget to be mindful, because who you are from within will attract from the out. See you next time. Bye.